Well, for more on this, let's speak to Mahan Abedin. He is an Iranian affairs analyst for the Middle East Monitor. He joins us now live from London. Thanks so much for speaking to us. If we can, I want to start by talking about potential motives here. I mean, given the international attention this case has received and the very brazen nature of this suspected crime, why would Saudi risk so much to eliminate one man?
Well, I think the short answer is because the new Saudi leadership believes it can get away with it. The United States currently, especially the White House under Donald Trump, has given Mohammed bin Salman, the Saudi crown prince and the dominant force in the new leadership, carte blanche, a blank check to do extraordinary things in their foreign policy and also in terms of their repression internally. And what's happened to Jamal Khashoggi is an extension of that. Let's remember, he was a consummate insider for decades. He had parallel careers. He was a genuine journalist, but at the same time, he was a close advisor to Saudi foreign intelligence. In fact, when I met him for the first time 15 years ago or 14 years ago, he was working at the Saudi embassy here in London as an advisor to Turki bin Faisal, the dominant force in Saudi intelligence. So he was a man who was privy to all manner of information, a lot of it confidential and some perhaps top secret. And the fact that he was dissenting in a very brazen manner in the United States, writing for the Washington Post, this was deemed to be a very credible threat, and it required extraordinary measures. I'm of the firm belief that the Saudis dispatched that team to murder Jamal. I don't believe the intention was to abduct him, and perhaps the abduction went wrong. I think the intention was to murder him there and then. I think the Saudis, knowing that their security services are not particularly experienced in these types of complex operations. Let's remember, the Saudis are not Israelis. They don't have decades of experience in carrying out assassinations in foreign capitals and international cities. So they would have known that this would come out pretty quickly. But by the same token, they had calculated that they can get away with it.
Okay, so given that kind of lack of experience you're citing there on behalf of the Saudi team that was suspected to be sent over, I mean, what do you make of the investigation then so far? Is it a slam dunk case in a sense?
Well, I think I'm slightly surprised that the Turkish investigators and indeed the Turkish leadership is not supplying more information, because I do believe they have more information on this case. There's obviously a very important... Hello? There's obviously a very important diplomatic dimension to this case, not only in relation between Turkey and Saudi Arabia, but also foreign powers. I think key powers, the United States, the United Kingdom and others, would not want to alienate the Saudis too much on this issue. For them, it's ultimately the murder of just one man. So I think that diplomatic dimension is very important. But in terms of the actual investigation, even the information we have at our disposal now, some of it supplied by the Turkish leadership and then further embellished by investigative journalists like Bellingcat, is absolutely damning.
Right.
It's damning both in terms of the fact that it has a direct attribution to Saudi Arabia, but also it points to very sloppy tradecraft. The fact that these 15 men, they were dispatched on the same day, they were using their own names, they came as a group, they stayed at 2 high-profile hotels, they went back after the operation had been concluded. This is very poor tradecraft. Again, it reflects the fact that Saudi Arabia doesn't really have very capable intelligence services. For instance, I gave you the example of the Israelis. Yeah, but
right.
Also I think more importantly, it points to the fact that they feel they can get away with it.
And you don't think that Saudi might be overplaying its hand here? If what you've said is true, if your analysis is correct, you don't think Saudi has taken a step too far, given the kind of international pressure that's coming on now, aside slowly from the United States, but still there?
I think they've made it very difficult for some of their Western apologists to continue to defend this new regime. Some of the Western commentators, particularly in America, Thomas Friedman, for instance, springs to mind, who wrote that laudatory tribute to Mohammed bin Salman some time ago. But I think in terms of Western governments, it remains to be seen. I don't particularly foresee terrible repercussions for the Saudis. I think probably they will get away with this. But I think now, at least as far as international opinion is concerned, we know very well now about the true nature of this Saudi regime.
Okay, Mahan Abedin, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your perspective there.
You're welcome.